Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm in my living room because I'm going to show you a mobility and stretching routine that you can follow along to. It's going to take about 10 minutes. So this is just going to run through some short holds of some stretching, some movements, just that you can do. You can do it as a cool down at the end of your gym sessions or your pitch sessions. Or like me, I've got a match tomorrow night, so I'm going to do this today. And it's something that I like to do just kind of quick and easy. Doesn't take that long. I find that if I keep my stretching sessions shorter, then I'm more likely to do them. So it's just going to be a quick 10-minute session that I'm going to go through, and I'll put a timer on the screen and you can follow along, and I'll talk you through each of the stretches. I've got my phone here. I'm going to set a 30-second timer for each stretch, and let's get into it. So the first one is child's pose. So if you can get onto your knees, you can do this on a mat or a carpet or anywhere. You can do it on the grass, even if you're after a pitch session. So if you sit back on your heels, on your knees, and then stretch forward and just crawl your fingers forward, I'll set my 30-second timer. This kind of stretches, you can feel a stretch in your lats and your lower back. I also tend to feel it in my hips, and I don't know whether that's because I have bad hips or I'm just doing the stretch wrong. I'm also kind of conscious that this mic is very close to my mouth as I'm doing this, so I don't know if this is loud audio or I don't know how the mic's going to pick it up. So that was just a nice, quick, easy 30 seconds. So next, we're going to go into a seal stretch, which is just the opposite. You're going to arch your upper back forward, look up to the sky, and crawl your hands. Start my 30-second timer. And just crawl your hands towards yourself and look up and just push your pelvis to the floor. You can even add a twist in if you feel like it. And this is again stretching that lower back almost the opposite way as child's pose, which we're going to go back into. We're going to do this twice. And really look up to the sky to exaggerate that stretch. Okay. So now we're going to go back into child's pose once more. And make sure to focus on your breathing, and every time you breathe out, try and get deeper into the stretch. I was going to film this outside today, but then it started raining, and then it got sunny again, and then it started raining again, and now it's sunny, so I decided to do it in my living room instead. Okay, and then one more time into seal. So again, like I said, you can do this kind of thing. I used to do it after every gym session. I used to just get a mat, and I actually used to watch a video like this and just kind of follow along to it. So I decided to make my own when I kind of put together my own routine that I decided to do. Okay, and that's 30 seconds. So the next one that we've got is the pigeon stretch. So this is for the glutes, which is really important. We want to be glute dominant athletes, so it's important to get that range of motion. So you're going to put your leg across like this, and then you're going to sink your chest towards your knee and put your arms outstretched and try and get your chest as close to the floor as possible. It's not going to be a very comfortable one. And then you can also try and crawl with your fingers as far as you can. And again, focus on your breathing and breathing out and getting deeper with each breath. And we're going to do this on each leg for just 30 seconds. This is not any super long hold or anything like that. Like, you can stretch for much longer than this. You can stretch for an hour and do a full mobility routine. You can even do some foam rolling, but I tend to just keep it kind of short and sweet, especially after a gym session at the end where you've already been there for like 45 minutes. I just find that if I keep them short and I keep them sweet, that I tend not to skip stretching, and these 30-second holds seem to do it for me anyway. Oh, yeah, this is not a comfortable stretch. Okay. So we'll stop that one. I'm worried this mic is now going to be rattling all over the place. Okay, so the next one is the world's greatest stretch. So we're gonna put, say, our left leg forward. We're gonna get up off our right knee. Hopefully I'm in the shot for this. We're gonna get our left arm, we're gonna try drive our elbow to our toe and extend up and follow our hand with our eyes. So try and touch your elbow off your foot, turn back and follow your elbow. Remember to keep off that knee so that we're really getting a good stretch. This is called the world's greatest stretch. I don't actually know if there's a different name to it, but we're just gonna do this for 30 seconds. And again, try and hit your elbow off your foot each time. And make sure to extend all the way back with your eyes, following your hand. And I'll do it a little bit longer just for the sake of it. So now we're gonna switch and do that on the right side. So right leg up, left leg up off our knee. Start the timer and go. And don't just go through the motions with this one and just do it really quick. Really try and get into it. And do it nice and slowly and controlled. Finish that out, okay. I'm working up a small bit of a stretch. Next, we're gonna go into a groin stretch. So I'm gonna sit the other way so that you can see what I'm doing. So there's a lot of different ways you can do a groin stretch. I like to do it this way. My groin is probably one of my more problem areas. So I'm not the most flexible at this, so I'll try my best. So I'm gonna put both my feet together, scooch them up as far as I can towards myself. Keep them together, and then even I can try sit forward as far as possible. Start my timer, and I'm just gonna try and put my knees to the floor. It actually doesn't look like I'm doing anything, so I'm actually gonna use my, so you can use your elbows like this and hold your feet together so that they keep close. And you're just gonna try and put your knees to the floor as much as you can. Mine are obviously not very close. But you're just gonna hold that for 30 seconds. And you should really feel that in your groin. Even, that's our 30 seconds up. But even, you can do it oftentimes if you wanna butterfly it like that. I know it looks kinda silly, but you can butterfly it like that and kind of bounce it. So next, we're gonna do hip rockers. So I think the best way is to go sideways on the mat. You wanna put your left leg here at 90 degrees. And then your other leg here at 90 degrees. So your thigh facing sideways and then your thigh facing forwards. I'll set my 30-second timer, and we basically go from here and just rotate, keeping our heels where they are and try to keep our legs at 90 degrees. So this is where it's more of a mobility exercise than it is a stretch. This is where you're kind of using movements to kind of increase that range of movement in the joints, rather than just holding a stretch and stretching a muscle. Now this is difficult because my heels are on a tile floor and I can't keep my legs at 90 degrees that well. I've gone over the 30 seconds a little bit, but that's okay. I'll keep going because I didn't get good enough reps in. I'll end it on that. So now we'll go into a hamstring stretch. So I'm gonna sit forward on the mat. I like to stretch, you can stretch your hamstrings like this and do both legs. I like to kind of tuck one leg in and kind of go as far as I can then on one hamstring and then just switch. So we'll go 30 seconds each side on that. So I'll start my timer, grab my hamstring and just kind of sit into it. Again, I'm not the most flexible person. I'm sure some people can go a lot further than this. You can even you can make it difficult if you make it more difficult if you want to like sit further forward and twist through with your other arm. But I'm just going to sit here and try and grab kind of the balls of my feet and kind of sit into it. And again, don't forget to breathe. I know I'm talking, but when you're doing this, don't forget to, that's 30 seconds up. Don't forget to breathe and try and like go deeper as the 30 seconds goes on. So like you can see me kind of crawl my fingers along my toes. And that's just trying to get deeper into the stretch each time and increase that range of motion. So you can see my left hamstring is obviously a lot worse than my right. Okay, and that's 30 seconds. Okay, so for this next one, I'm actually gonna grab a pillow because my yoga mat's too thin. It's gonna hurt my knee otherwise. So I'm gonna grab a pillow, I'm gonna put my knee on it. You mightn't have to do this if you're on grass or have a decent yoga mat at your gym or something like that. But I'm basically gonna put one leg forward, one leg behind, kneeling on it. And then I'm gonna bring this leg up here. I'm gonna pull on it and try and bring that heel to my butt. I'm gonna start my timer. And as I do that, I'm gonna sit up, puff my chest out. And as I continue to do it, I'm gonna push my pelvis forward. And that's where that hip flexor stretch comes in. There's that rain again. So I'm glad I decided to film inside. So again, focusing on that breathing. And then with each breath, just pushing your pelvis forward. Okay, 30 seconds, we're gonna switch. This might look silly now that I'm doing it on a pillow. So we're actually almost done, and I'm actually kind of sweating. But this is it, it's just kind of quick and easy. You can see that my quad is not as good on my left foot because I cannot get my heel as far. And I'm kind of losing my balance a little bit. Okay, there's 30 seconds. So I don't need this anymore. Put it off to the side. So next is going to be a downward calf. So it's similar to a downward dog. Some of you might do this calf stretch. It's basically, you go into a plank position on your hands and you just stretch. We're gonna go one calf each. You could do downward dog and do both. I just prefer to do 30 seconds on each one and just separate them. So I'm gonna start my timer. I'm gonna get into this position, put one leg over the other one and just kind of push back and rock back and try and push that heel to the floor. You can even use your other foot to try and put that heel to the floor. And without like bouncing in and out of the stretch, just kind of push and really try and put the heel to the floor as much as you can. Okay, stop that and we'll switch to the other one. Just kind of use your shoulders to push yourself back. Okay. Now, so next one, there's actually two. So it's going to be sitting on our heels. And this one is definitely neglected a lot by, I think, most people, but also especially footballers. I actually saw this on a Become Elite video. So all of these stretches are kind of stretches and stuff that I've collected through, whether it's videos I used to watch or what do you call it? I'm in college, I'm learning sports and coaching. So it's stuff that I've learned in college or stuff that I've read or looked up. So this one I saw on a Become Elite video where you basically, you sit back on your heels, but you tuck your toes underneath. So you're kind of stretching this bottom part of the foot and you just do that for 30 seconds and you kind of sit back as far as you can. And especially I also get a lot of, if I'm playing football on a hot day, I think it's from my foot being crammed into the boot. I get a lot of foot cramps as well as calf cramps. But so yeah, I think kind of stretching out the foot can be helpful. And then we're going to go on to the opposite of it now, and you want to kind of rock back as far as you can. So we're going to go on to the opposite now, which is actually stretching the front of it and kind of more the ankle. Is you kind of lay your foot flat down like this and then really just sit back on your heels. And this is one of those things, when I first started doing it, it was really, really painful and I could barely like just sit back on my heels normally, and now I can kind of sit back further and really stretch. So it's kind of one of those things you have to work on, and ankle mobility is so crucial to the strength of the ankle, especially if you get a lot of ankle sprains. And just injury prevention. I mean, you're never going to prevent a contact injury, but just trying to reduce that risk. That's 30 seconds. Just trying to reduce that risk of non-contact injuries is so important. So next, we're going to go into the last one actually. Is going to be a full squat, which is just, so you can stand up, you can start standing up if you want, but it's basically sit into a deep squat as far as you can. So heels on the floor, your feet can face out if you want. I put my hands out for balance because it's not the best, but just kind of ass to grass kind of squat and just kind of sit there for 30 seconds. Almost there. Perfect. And there we go. So that was it. That was what, 10 minutes-ish, maybe 9.5 of just some quick stuff. You can do that, again, like I said, as part of a cool down or something like that. I wouldn't advise doing this like too close before a match. So like I'm doing this as a mobility session the day before a match. I wouldn't do this, you know, before training or before a match, because a lot of studies show that if you stretch before performance, that kind of reduces your power output. So this is a good mobility routine, but I would make sure to just kind of use it as part of a cool down, or do it the night before a game or something like that, without kind of including it into your, I wouldn't use it as a warm up, I should say. So thank you for watching the video, and subscribe and like it, and I'll see you next one.